and, truth be told, I was still a little captivated by him, so the last thing I wanted to see on his lovely lips was pity. "Thoughts, anyone?" He ran his hand over his brow. Yeah, can I be brutally honest?" The American man sitting opposite me leaned forward. I think his name was Carl, but I couldn't be sure. "That's why we're here," Samuel replied on an exhale. He looked like he wanted to roll his eyes. Carl was staring at me with contrived intensity. "It's just that not much happens." He scrunched his face up like a gnome. "There's a lot of beautiful words and imagery, but no real journey or plot that I can figure." He accentuated the words while his hands punctuated the air. I chewed on my lip. "Yes, I agree." A middle-aged woman in a loose-fitting floral blouse and navy blue trousers that could only be described as slacks interrupted the man I had now mentally dubbed the gnome. "You need more action, less talk. There's a lot of unnecessary dialogue and not enough story for the readers to get their teeth into." She reminded me of Fiona from the film Shrek, not helped by the fact that she had introduced herself to the 15-strong group as Foo at the beginning of the week. Giving someone a moniker so that they appeared less threatening and intimidating to me was a trick I had learned in therapy. It was coming in useful today. "I quite like it." I looked across the table to where a quiet voice had chimed in. "It's lyrical." A mousy bespectacled woman called Shelley looked sheepishly at the many eyes turned towards her. My husband Paul would describe her as being a few meals ahead, but she seemed harmless, and so far this week had been the most reasonable and objective in her comments. There was silence. I looked down at the pages in front of me, willing myself not to take it all to heart. What else had I expected? "Anyone else?" Samuel pushed. Apart from Fu tapping her pen on the table, the room remained quiet. "Okay, well, for what it's worth, I think there is promise here," Samuel said. I looked up. Samuel Morton, award-winning author of intellectual crime thrillers, critics' favourite, darling of the publishing world. He could see promise. There is some beautiful imagery, and I agree that it could be toned down, stripped back a little, but the bones of the plot are there. Pacing is a little erratic, but it just needs a sharp edit to pull it tighter and reveal the underlying narrative arc. I wasn't entirely sure what all that meant, but he was smiling, and there was something in the way he was looking at me that made the floor drop out of my stomach. I raised my eyebrows in what I hoped showed the right degree of gratitude, rather than in a weird facial tic kind of way. God, what was the matter with me? I was back to acting like a schoolgirl with a crush. "Right, coffee break, I think. Then it's Greg's turn as the last critique of the course." Samuel pushed his chair back with a rasp of metal on tiles and headed towards the coffee station. I contemplated a thin line of dirt under my short nails before looking around the table. This was day 5 of the creative writing course, during which we had listened, shared, compared, and evaluated our starter novels. Each of us had come to the table with something different, from rom-coms to historical fiction to crime, and so far it had hands down been the best week of my life. 5 days to put myself front and centre, doing something I loved with people of a similar mindset for a few hours. No talk of children, school, secondary transfer days, healthy eating. No hiding. And then there was Samuel. Meeting him had been worth digging into my savings to pay for the course in the first place. This afternoon we had run through Greg's novel about a man caught up in a fight with a mafia, debating his use of first-person voice and the time jumps he had included. But now Samuel was drawing the course to a close. I zoned in on his lips as he spoke. "Writers are selfish creatures. We take our inspiration from everyone and everything around us without permission, not necessarily asking for anything in return, except that little..."